Saturday, August 26th, brought about more controversy in the sport of boxing. And we just can't seem to get through the sport without that bit of controversy. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about the heavyweight unified title that took place between champion Alexander Usyk and Dynamite Danny Dubois. This fight ended with a stoppage. But what happened early on made people think that there's something just not right about the sport of boxing. And the sooner that we get down to it, the more that we can put it behind us and hopefully grow from this experience. So let's talk about and have a final word on Usyk versus Dubois and what happened in this fight and what really happened in this fight. The sport of boxing continues to be the theater of the unexpected. And we're finding that in the sweepstakes of title challenges as well as title defenses, there is a stigma that raises its head at times. And we'll call that no guts, no glory. Why is that? No guts, no glory. When we think about the title fight that took place between Alexander Usyk and Danny Dubois from Poland, a place that's a neighbor to the Ukraine. Danny Dubois from the UK found himself going over there to try to lift the titles away from Alexander Usyk. But the fight ended up being mired in controversy because we saw something take place roughly around the fifth round, the fourth round, when Danny Dubois hit Alexander Usyk with what seemed and appeared to be a clean body shot. And Usyk went to the canvas, writhing in pain as if he had suffered a low blow. The referee did not recognize the fight being the punch being a clean punch, but recognized it as a low blow and immediately gave Usyk the opportunity to try to recover and to remain on the canvas and wait things out. There was not a lot of physical protest from Dubois or his camp in that moment. But when you watched the behavior of Usyk, he definitely appeared to be milking it. What I call milking it. And when you looked at him, he seemed really exasperated, in pain, and not quite in a good place. In other words, him being on the canvas for as long as he was, if there were a count, he could have been counted out. Replays that were slow to come showed the punch actually landing on the belt line, just near where his navel would be, covered up by that belt line, but not down in the groin area. Usyk later would say in the post-fight press conference, he was hit low. His people argued he was hit low. Dubois feels that he was cheated out of a knockout because Usyk's time spent on the canvas. But like I said, they didn't protest when the action was live. Personally, I think Alexander Usyk milked the situation. He stayed there as long as he could, which was that 5-minute break maximum that you're allowed to take after a foul. But it might even been a little bit longer than that. Remember, the fight was taking place in Poland, and it was a pro-Usyk crowd. Everything was in favor of Usyk here. The venue, the environment, the crowd, maybe even the referee. But Danny Dubois had argued that he would come out and take the fight to Alexander Usyk and make him experience what it's like to be in there against a, quote, real heavyweight. Let us not forget the fact that Usyk campaigned at cruiserweight. But his record now, after being put on the canvas from the body shot, finds Usyk to be 19-2 with 18 KOs. His record is quite, that's Danny Dubois' record. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. Danny Dubois' record is now 19-2 with 18 KOs after the loss. Usyk has fought the type of fight that makes you wonder if it's his skills, his unorthodox position, being a fighter who is a bit of a mixed bag. He's in and out. He has unorthodox footwork and movement. And his record now, again, forgive me, I was saying his record is 21-0 with 14 KOs now after the defeat of Dubois. I had my information a little mixed up there. But getting back to the knockdown, lots of people have talked about this fight. Lots of people have talked about whether or not he should have been counted out. If the referee had recognized the punch as a legal punch, it is in my opinion that Usyk would have gotten up and not spent all that time on the canvas had a count been issued. He actually later said in post-fight that if he were counted, he would have found a way to get up. Of course he would. His title was on the line. But Dubois went on with this fight and didn't fare well. He ended up being dropped in the 8th round of this fight, and then also found himself stopped in the 9th. The one thing I'll say about that, being stopped in the 9th, I had not given, at the time of the stoppage, 1 round to Danny Dubois. Usyk started the fight out taking the play away from him. His right jab was in Dubois' face most of the night, to the degree that Dubois' left eye was swelling, looking quite not unlike the time when he faced Joe Joyce. But at no time did Dubois show the strength and the aggression that he had promised during the lead up to the fight, none of which his coaches and trainers had stated that they would impose leading up to the fight. When he was counted out, he was on his knee and he took the full 10 count on his knee, rising at 10, not at 9, not at 8. It wasn't even that close. It was definitely 10, a stoppage. Now, where have we seen that before? Again, like I said, with his fight against Joe Joyce, it was the same thing. Dubois stayed down on one knee until the ref waved the fight off. Then he stood up. Why does Danny Dubois give in heavyweight fights? Being the imposing figure that he is, you would think that he would have more to offer. But as I stated, I had not given him a round during this fight. Could it be that he recognized, after he didn't receive the gift and benefit of a count against Usyk going down, that he decided to give up and submit? Or could there be something else afoot here? That I am still uncertain on. But what I am certain of is Daniel Dubois is not the goods at heavyweight. Frank Warren may think that he is a guy that can get it right and get one of those titles one day. But I don't think he should have been in this fight on this night. In his last fight against Lorena, Dubois was dropped 3 times in the first round. 3 times. Allegedly, on one of those knockdowns is when the torn ACL happened. Kevin Lorena had moved up from cruiserweight and was a southpaw, a lot like Alexander Usyk. But had none of Usyk's skills, nor power or strength, but he had Dubois down 3 times in that first round. That is what let me know disaster was ahead for Danny Dubois. And just as I've shown these 2 images of him taking the knee against Joe Joyce, and this past Saturday night, Dubois was in the same position, people. The same. And he made a decision that was the same, to not continue. So that's the controversy. That's where you have to look at things and recognize there's a problem here. Alexander Usyk won every round. And because the knockdown of Usyk, due to what was called a low blow, was an official counted knockdown, he couldn't win that round either. So what we have here is a case clear cut of no guts, no glory. And it is sad to see that a young fighter such as Dangerous, Dynamite, Danny Dubois, being all of 25 years of age, has made such poor choices in life, in the sport that he participates in, to not to continue, to go out on your shield, to not go for broke, being a big man, 6'5", 230 something pounds, to take on the smaller, older, elder Usyk. It couldn't have been about the payday, but it was about guts. And now, seemingly, for the second time since November of 2020, Danny Dubois has chosen to take the knee. And by taking the knee, he has also decided that there will be no glory. And there was no glory on Saturday, August 26, in Poland, for Danny Dubois. Alexander Usyk will go on. Hopefully in the next year, he'll find himself in a unification match for Undisputed. But if he doesn't, there's the likes of Filip Hrgovic, a new contender waiting for an opportunity. And we'll get a chance to see that. And hopefully, somewhere along the line, Danny Dubois will turn some things around. But I don't think so. I don't think it'll happen. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about this fight and Danny Dubois' now fragile future. Do you think he can overcome this? 2 times submitting by the knee. It's going to be a hard road to come back from. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.